Okay, so in this class, we are going to talk about the pricing procedure. Let me quickly log on. So at this point, we understand what the condition technique is, and here we're going to focus specifically on some of the most important fields in the pricing procedure. Now, how do we go to pricing? Configuration VOKK0. Right? So you go to VOK0 and go to pricing procedure and pick a standard pricing procedure or any pricing procedure you like. RVAA01, which is the German standard pricing procedure. So go there and go to control. All right. Here, first we will discuss the general structure of a pricing procedure. Okay. And before I do that, what I want to do is I want to copy RVAA01. Okay. And create our own, like ZV0001. And when you do that, make sure you click copy all. You would already have done that as part of the condition technique, right? So it's all copied, save it. Okay, now let's go to this custom pricing procedure and see how a pricing procedure is structured. A pricing procedure is generally structured this way. First, we will have pricing condition type. Pricing meaning prices, gross price, variant price, this price, that price, price. As opposed to what? As opposed to discounts. Okay, so let me just make it a little bit more clear. So first we're going to have, like I said, pricing condition type. Next we are going to have discounts. Okay, first is pricing condition types, a set of pricing condition types. And then we are going to have a set of discount condition types. Okay, after which you can have a multitude of other condition types which could be varying. For example, first there will be freight and then there will be taxes, or first there will be tax or there could be freight, depending on whether the freight is taxable or not. In some countries, freight is taxable. In some countries, freight is not. So whether you put freight first or whether you put tax first is dependent on the particular situation at hand. Okay? So, change the color here again. And let's say we put tax here. Tax. And after that, we have, let's say, freight. Okay, so there is pricing, there is discounts, there is tax, and there is freight. These are the major condition types that we use in pricing. And in between, say here or here or here, we have what are called as subtotals. These are called subtotals. What is a subtotal? A subtotal computes a summation of multiple condition types and just adds them up together. For example, if there are multiple discounts that apply, for example, there is a 20% discount. On top of it, there is an additional dollar X, $10 or $20, $100 discount. Both of them, these two discounts could be added up together simultaneously. The customer could be given both these discounts. So the total discount that is given will be added up here in this subtotal column. Okay, that is the use of a subtotal. A subtotal is used to add the values of multiple condition types together so that you can do further computation on it, or you can just use it to print it out on the customer statement or for whatever reason. Okay. Now, you can use it to do something else where I said that, for example, only certain supports, only certain discounts may be eligible for freight. Okay. Let's say you're doing freight calculation based on the original price. So if the original price is $100, then the freight is $10. If the price is between 100 and 200, the freight is $20. A simplified freight scheme. In which case, let's say for example, the customer got a special coupon or discount because of which the price went down from 100 to $70 discount, and he is getting it at a price of $30. But irrespective of this price, the customer now has to pay, let's say this is $200 initially, and $70 or $100 or $130 discount. Okay, now he's got it at $70. Now, if freight is based on pricing, then the discount, the freight that will get applied is $10, not $20. But we want to give him a discount, but we want to pay him full freight. This freight is based on the original product. So in which case, you don't want to compute your freight based on the net amount, which is pricing minus discount. But instead, you want to base it on pricing. Right? So maybe you want to compute the pricing subtotal separately, discount subtotal separately, pricing minus discount subtotal separately. And let's say tax is based on pricing minus only a certain set of discounts. Maybe only this discount only, not this discount. Some discounts are not allowed as part of tax computation because sometimes too steep discounts will result in too low taxes. So some discounts are not allowed as part of tax computation. Maybe tax cannot be computed based on this discount, but instead based on the subtotal. So you can have, the reason why I'm saying this is, you can have a different set of subtotals, n number of them, for further computations. For example, in this case, tax computation based on some other set of discount subtotal. So how many subtotals can you have? You can have many such subtotals. Example is, if you go to this column, right, SUTOT, This is the subtotal column. And if you go and click on that, these are the possible subtotals. It is very, very rare to create your own subtotal. Almost, I have never had a chance to create a subtotal. It's very rare. But sometimes you might have to create, and it's a separate process to create a subtotal. Now, where are these subtotals stored? These are stored in these fields. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are the standard subtotal fields. And beyond that, there are some more subtotal fields. So the standard subtotal fields are stored in these fields technically. KOMP, KZWA1, KZWA2, KZWA3, K4, 5, 6, so on. Okay? This is called a subtotal. So you can have, fixed standard subtotals and then so many other subtotals that are specific to certain scenarios. For example, Y is specific to only IS oil and pricing. Okay. But most of the time we use these subtotals, 1 through 6. Okay. That is a subtotal. Now, a subtotal can be based on just the value in a particular condition type, or it could be based on a summation of values in multiple condition types. For example, let me show you. Okay. Now look at this row. Row number 300. Okay. Row number 300 discount amount is based on a summation of all the condition types from 101 through 299. So 101, all the discount types, condition types start at 101 here. So 101, 102, 103, 104, and until 299, which is the one above 300. So until that, any discount that you give can be added up to a discount amount subtotal, and the way you specify the condition types that should be added up together to a particular subtotal is based on the from and to columns associated with that row. In this case, we are saying that this row should compute the total from 101 through 299. Okay, that is the use of from and to columns. Okay, from and to columns. Okay, next we have a field called manual. What is manual? Some condition types are manual condition types, meaning they are not automatically determined in the order. They are inserted manually by the user when they open the order. Example are, some discounts are manual discounts, meaning they are discounts given based on the discretion of the user. Sometimes their customer might just leave if they don't give a discount. Then there is a certain discount that doesn't automatically apply, but if the customer insists, maybe the user will give that discount. So that's a manual discount, an example of a manual discount. Okay. Now there is also something called as a header price, which I'll discuss at a little later. Where, let me give you this example. I'm giving you examples of manual discounts. Now there is line item 10, line item 20. Let's just say these two. And line item 10, the price is $100 and the discount is $10. The tax is $5. So total is 100 minus 10, 90, 90 plus 5, 95. Now for 20, it is 200 minus $15 plus $10. So total 200 minus 15 is 185. 185 plus 10 is 195. So what is the total at the header level? 95 plus 195 is 290, right? 290 is the total. Now the customer might say, okay, imagine a bigger amount. 290 is a very small amount. So imagine a big amount, 290K. The customer might say, okay, I'll buy it if you give it to me for a price of 250K or 250. Now there are multiple ways in which you can do it. You can give discount here at line item 10 level or at line item 20 level, so that finally it computes to 250. Or there is another way. There is something called as a header condition, right? Whereby you can manually insert a condition at the header level. Let me just show you how it is done. So try to create an order. Okay. Now, if you look at the prices for line item 1, how do you look at the price? Go to this line item, select that line item, and click on this nickel. And you go to the conditions tab at the line item level, where you have the prices, discounts, freight, everything. So the net price is 1068 and the tax is 202. You can move on to the next line item, 20, by clicking on this button, next item. So this is 20. And the 20 is 2,382, blah, blah, blah. Right? Now, this is the pricing procedure here, if you go to analysis, is RBAA01. RBAA01 has so many different condition types, right? Now, I said some of these condition types are manual. And how do you use those manual condition types? So let's see which of them are manual and then try to work on one of them. Okay, so select RBAA01, go to control and select a manual condition type. Let's say one of these, RB00, let's say. Okay, this is the manual condition type. So let's go down. So RB00 is a manual condition type that I've just entered. I have given a 10 euros of discount. So that got applied here as well. So 98 plus 10 is 108. So that is the discount. Total discount. How did I do that? I just went down, I clicked on this plus button or either way, entered the condition type and then entered the value. Similarly, you can try with RD00 or RC0, whatever is manual. Now, if it is not manual, let's say K031. This is not marked as manual here. Now, K031 and then 10. Oops. There could be another reason why this could be happening. But anyway, don't worry about it. I'll talk about it later. Manual can also be marked at the condition type level. Okay. Okay, so I will discuss that at a later point. If it is not marked as manual at the condition type level, and if it is not marked as manual in the pricing procedure level, then this condition type cannot be inserted manually in the pricing procedure. Okay, that's the use of the manual flag. Next is required. What is the required field? Required means that field is required. That particular condition type is required. Okay, so let's do some small change here. I think what was that? ZV001, right? So which procedure is being determined here? RVA01. Do we want to change RVA01? No, we don't want to change it. We want to have our own pricing procedure so that we can change it and test things. For example, in this case, let's make some pricing condition type as required and see the effect of it. Right? But in order to see the effect of it, we have to ensure that our pricing procedure is determined. Okay? So how do we test that? We have to ensure that we use custom pricing condition type and custom document pricing procedure and all that stuff. So how do we do that? Pricing procedure determination. Right? This part of it was taken care of by the condition technique. So it's just a rehash of what we have already seen in condition technique. Now, I'm going to change the pricing procedure associated with one of our custom transaction type, which is ZSAT. Okay? ZSAT. I'm going to change this to dash. Okay? And thousand, then 00. Document procedure is dash. Why am I doing this? Why am I going through all this stuff? Just to ensure that I don't change the standard pricing procedure and standard configuration, because many people will be working on the standard configuration. Oops. What happened? What happened? Just got stuck. The system became very slow. VOK 0. I'm going back to pricing. So pricing procedure determination. Mhm. Okay, and then we were going to work on 1000, then 00, and then minus. And see, for this combination and for a customer pricing procedure of, we want to use customer 1000, right? So we want to see what is the customer pricing procedure associated with customer 1000. Okay. If some of you are not able to follow what I'm trying to do here, don't worry, I'll repeat the summary of this again. I know I'm going a little bit too fast here. Um, Okay, but if you have followed that condition technique theory well, you would understand it. But if not, that's fine. Don't worry. So for a combination of minus and 1, I need to enter our pricing procedure. So for that, what do we have to do? Let me go to... I just was pausing my screen there. Oh, the data is still locked. Come on. Okay. Now this is our lock. So I want to create a new entry here. Okay. So for 1000, 10, 00, document pricing procedure of minus, customer pricing procedure of 1, and I want the pricing procedure to be ZV that we have created. Pricing procedures. The one that we have created is ZV001. ZV ZV001. Got this here. Enter. Okay. Now save this guy and then try to create an order. Okay. Now we'll be using VAT, our custom order type with customer 1000. Enter. Enter. We try to enter some material. Enter. Let the pricing come up and select that line item. go to click on that nickel to see the pricing procedure that has been determined. So how do you find out which pricing procedure is determined for this transaction? Go to analysis and we should see your custom pricing procedure here. So all of this stuff that we have done until now is to make sure that our custom pricing procedure is determined. So what have we done for that? Let me summarize it here so that things are a little clear. So what I've done is, so the standard pricing procedure is RVAA01 for Germany. So what did we do initially? We made a copy of it and we created ZV0001. And we are trying to modify this, like, maybe delete some condition type or add some condition type, make it mandatory or make it manual, so on and so forth. We can do all of that, but how do we test it? In order to test it, we have to do a transaction, like a sales order or a contract or whatever, so that this pricing procedure would be determined in it. But in order to do this determination, we have to understand how a pricing procedure is determined. So the determination of this pricing procedure is based on three parameters, right? Sales area plus document pricing procedure plus customer pricing procedure. The sales area we always choose 1000/1000 for simplicity. A document pricing procedure. So if you choose OR document, it will have a pricing procedure, document pricing procedure of A. But we don't want to choose OR. We don't want to change it. So we have created our own custom document type called ZSAP. And we have changed the document pricing procedure here to a minus. And the customer pricing procedure, we have chosen 1000 customers, for which the pricing procedure is 1. So I have gone to pricing procedure determination and made an entry for 1000/1000 minus and 1, so that for this combination, the pricing procedure that should be determined is ZV0001. And that's how I got this entry here. Is this clear? Any questions here? Now, we are in a position to customize it in any way we want, because it's our own custom pricing procedure. So how do we do that customization? What kind of customization we want to do? So we can go here, for example, go to control, and let's say this has been made as required, right? Required. Now, let's go here and try to delete this required field. Okay, you select that condition type PR00 and try to delete it. Okay, now this has been marked as a required field. So can you delete it? No. Okay, let me just close some fields that are not necessary. Yes. Oops. I'm opening that pricing procedure VBAA01 again. VB0001. Okay, so PR00 has been marked as mandatory. Now, try to create that sales order again. Okay, select it, go to pricing, and PR00 is what we were looking at. Now let's say we make PB00 or PR02 or one of these as also mandatory. Okay, so make this as required. I'm switching it on. Okay, I'm switching that on for this row PB00. So PB00 in this case is not determined. Why it is not determined? If you want to know why, go to analysis and look at PB00. It's a manual condition. Okay? That's why it's not data map. Now, we are making it required and clicking on save. Okay? Now, let's try to create this order again. Okay? What does it say? Pricing error. Look at the left bottom corner. Mandatory condition PB00 is missing. So select that and click here, and you'll see that there is an error here. It says some mandatory condition is missing. Why? That's because we have made PB00 as a required field by switching this column on. Okay, that's the importance of required field. So you can make certain fields mandatory, certain condition types mandatory. For example, pricing is generally made mandatory. At least one pricing should be there. Okay, generally. Discounts are not mandatory almost all the time. Cost can be made mandatory. Cost is a statistical condition type, so that can be made mandatory. So any condition type that you want to make mandatory, you can make it mandatory. Okay? In this case, for example, tax. Tax is made mandatory. Okay? Whether it is 0 or 100, doesn't matter. So tax has been made mandatory. Okay? Cost is another example, or factoring discount is another example, or cost is another example that can be made mandatory. Okay? Now the next column is statistical. What does this field do? Statistical. There are certain condition types that are statistical in nature. So what is statistical? Statistical means it is not used in the computation of the price. Okay? Now look at these statistical values. Cost, a very prime example for statistical. Okay? Cost. What is cost? Let me explain it here. There is a product. Okay? So, what product? There is an iPod or iPhone. An iPhone is sold for how much? $600 to the customer. You can go to apple.com and buy an iPhone contract fee for 600 or 800, whatever. What is the cost price of it? No, let's say $200. This is the cost price of it. Where is the cost price of a product maintained? Cost price is how much does it cost for Apple to manufacture it, including all the overheads, so on and so forth. Can you tell me where this is maintained for the material? In the material master. In either the accounting or costing column view. Okay, so we have seen it being maintained in the material master class, in the accounting or the costing view of the material master, where we say whether it is standard price or moving average price, and then we mention cost there. The cost could be 200, for example, in case of an iPhone. Now, when we are doing some sales, we are selling an iPhone to a customer, and there is some price, there is some discount, there is some tax, blah, 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 and there is a condition type also called cost. So why is cost involved in a sales order? The customer does not need to know how much Apple incurs to make that iPhone, and Apple also does not want the customer to know, right? So why is the cost coming up there? The cost is used in pricing as a statistical field, so that it does not affect the pricing, but it can be used for other internal computations. What kind of other internal computations? Example, profitability. You want to find out what is the total profitability for that transaction. Yes. What is the total net price? How much has been paid for tax? Remove the tax. The total net price minus cost will give you the profitability. Or you can use it for n number of other internal computations that the business requires. Why they require it is up to them. So the cost example is probably a simple example that can make you understand why a statistical flag is used for a particular condition type in the pricing procedure. Okay. Now, cost is not the only example. There are many other condition types that can be marked as statistical in pricing procedures. Example, there are some internal condition types that are used for some calculations. And not all of them need to be known to the customer, or not all of them need to be used as a base for pricing. Okay. Now I'll give you one more example. There are two condition types, Z123, Z124. Okay. Now both of them are set in pricing. Okay. This one value is 100 and Z124 is based on Z123. Z124 is based on Z123. Let's say Z124 is 95% of Z123. So which is 95. But you don't want this to be used in pricing, meaning it's not 100 plus 195 or 100 minus 195. The 100 is used as a base on which you calculate some 95% of it and say this is the price. So the customer did not know about this, but it is used in the calculation. Right? So these things should not be added up, but this is just used as a basis for pricing to compute the actual price, which is $95. Okay, an example for this is intercompany scenarios. So when you are doing some transfer of goods from one company code to the other, there will be some overhead involved, and the price that this customer is going to sell this product at is going to be based on a variety of parameters. One standard scheme is cost plus. It's called cost plus. The cost price of that material is $100 here. So you just put some markup there for freight, whatever, and then say that is the price. Okay. How do you do that? There will be VPRS condition type, which will compute your 100. But that is not the actual price. The actual price is something above it, maybe 10% above it. So you have VPR00 or whatever condition type that will compute the price as maybe 110% of VPRS, right? So you'll say the price is going to be 110% of VPRS, so it's going to be 110. And this is only a dummy condition type here. Its use is only for further calculation, but that is not the actual price. The actual price is 110. So this can be marked as statistical, but this is not. Okay, so statistical has two uses. One use is for internal computation, so that the customer is not worried about it. It's for internal computation. Example is this cost plus scheme, or calculation of one condition type based on another condition type. Maybe a simple multiplication factor or an uplift or a downgrade. That's internal computation, where the value of that condition type is only used to compute the value of another condition type or another subtotal. That's it. That's the only purpose of it. And second purpose is you can have it there as a dummy value. You don't need to compute anything out of it if you don't want to. But you don't want to show it to the customer, or you don't want that to be used as any basis for any calculation in pricing. Okay, these are the uses of statistical flag in the pricing procedure. Okay. Next is the print flag, which is almost never used. We have talked about subtotal. Next, we are going to talk about some important fields here. A requirement, REQT, requirement. What is a requirement? Now, we have already seen what requirement is. You already know what requirement is. Can somebody tell me where you have seen this requirement field? We have seen this in copy controls class. In copy controls, there is a field called copy control requirement. What does that requirement do? The requirement checks for certain things and finally returns a yes or a no, whether this copy can happen or not. This requirement routine also does the same thing. It does some calculation or computation or logical evaluation and finally returns a yes or a no. If it is a yes, then this condition type is evaluated. If it is a no, the condition type is not evaluated, meaning this condition type will go inactive. If you want to see some examples. Okay, now look at PR00. PR00 requirement is 2. What is 2? Let's go inside 2 by clicking on that possible list of values. Now we select 2 and then click on this button to see the code behind 2. Now it will open the code associated with the requirement of 2. Now, what is this code? What does this code say? It says compy PRSFD contains any, CA means contains any of these letters, B or X. Now, what is compy PRSFD? Compy PRSFD means the pricing criteria. What is that? If you go to your item category, say 10. Okay, and look at the pricing. I'm going to F1 for the pricing field and technical details. See this? The field name is PRSFD. PRSFD. So this field is PRSFD, meaning pricing criteria. Whether an item is relevant for pricing or not. So it says if it contains B or X. What is B? What is X? B means pricing for free goods. X means pricing standard. Now, if there is a case where it is B or X, then evaluate pricing. Otherwise, don't evaluate pricing. Okay? Simple, right? If it is B or X, evaluate pricing. Otherwise, do not evaluate pricing. That's what this requirement is saying. Now, you don't have to worry about the rest of the code. You know, what is this size of RC, blah, blah, blah. Not important, at least at this point. Okay? That is a requirement. In this case, it is checking whether an item category is relevant for pricing. And only for item categories that are relevant for pricing is this computed. Otherwise, there is no point to compute price, right? It is not relevant for price. Right? Let me give you another example of how we can choose a discount, let's say, or pricing. Let's look at this R100. Okay, the requirement is 55. I can show you some example here. So let's go to 55 and see what 55 means. Free goods pricing. So select that and select the code. What does it say? Compy PRSFD equals B. What does B do? Let's go to PRSFD B. B means free goods. So what is Free goods. Free goods means 100% free. Example is TANN. Select TANN and go to detail, and you'll see that for this the pricing is B. B means free goods. So if it is B, then evaluate this condition type is what this requirement is saying. So can we see an example? Yes. So here is an order. Line item 1, item category, some ZTN9. Okay. So what we are going to do is change the item category to TANN where possible. Can we do that? TANN. Yes. Okay. TANN. So select 20, go to the pricing, and you see that the R100 has been activated for this line item 20, whereas for 10, if you go back to 10, R100 is not there. Why? Because this requirement routine evaluated and found out that for TANN, the pricing criteria PRSFB is set to B, and hence that was evaluated for TANN item category. But for TAN or another item category for which is not a free goods, for which PRSFB is not B, R100 was inactivated. If you want to see why R100 is not computed in this case, line item 10, you can go to analysis, go to R100, there is R100, you see where R100 is? Yes, go here, see this? Condition ignored. So requirement 055 not fulfilled. That is in case of line item 10, which is not a free line item. In case of line item 20, which is TAN, which is free line item, for which PRSFB is B for that item category, R100 has been evaluated. Why it has been evaluated? Again, go to analysis and go to R100. See where R100 is. R100 condition has been found without condition record. That means at least the requirement was fulfilled. So condition has been found. How it works again further to that, it's a different story. Okay, now we see how R100 has been evaluated in 20 versus not evaluated in 10. It's based on a requirement. Okay. Now, calculation type is important. Base calculation type is not all that important. And account key is also not that important here, because we will be discussing this as part of account determination. Accrual keys is only important in a special case called discounts, but it's not, it's called rebates, sorry, accrual. So accruals we are not going to discuss today, account key we are not going to discuss today, base calculation type we are not going to discuss today. The basic calculation, alternative calculation type or calculation type we will discuss and we will close pricing procedure. So what is this calculation type? A calculation type is again another routine where you can write your own custom code to compute the price or the value of a condition type. Okay. Now, what are some examples that you can use for calculation type? You can use any kind of example. Let me show you one example where you will use alternative calculation type. One simple example, or rather one example that you should be knowing is, since you are in the US, is tax calculation for US Canada. How is tax calculated in the US? If you go to any store, right, you buy some product. Let's say you buy a book or you buy a laptop. The laptop costs $500, and then maybe there are some discounts, -50. So total $450 plus freight of $20, let's say. So total $470 plus tax of 10%. 10% is 47. So 517 is the total. So how is this 10% calculated, 10% tax? Why is it 10%? Because you see, based on the shipping address, the 10% or 12% or 9% changes. Right? You have observed that in Amazon.com shipping. So based on your zip code, the tax will change. Why does it change with zip code? Because tax, apart from other parameters, is mainly based on the shipping destination. Where are you shipping to? Where is the product being used? Now, it might ship to Canada, it might ship to Michigan, Michigan to San Francisco, San Francisco to San Diego. But where is it ultimately going and where is it going to be used? That is the basis for, one of the basis for determining tax. Now, this is part one. Second part is, let's say the destination is SFO. Now, in SFO, what is the tax? If you are shipping a product to SFO, what is the tax? Well, it's based on not where you are shipping the goods from, but the destination only, but at the destination, it's based on a number of parameters. In US, any location to which you ship the goods has what is called as a jurisdiction code. Jurisdiction code. There are 55,000 around roughly 55,000 jurisdiction codes in the US. What is a jurisdiction code? A jurisdiction code is a big numeric number. How so many characters? I don't know how many characters. For example, I stayed in a place called Sunnyvale in SFO in California. Oops. Okay. Now, what is the jurisdiction code for it? We don't need to worry about it. But what we have to understand is that jurisdiction code is based on 4 parameters. State, county, city, and then there is another parameter called district. Now, district is not used that often, but state, county, and city are used. So there will be a special state tax, which could be 7%. There might be a county tax, might be or might not be, depends, which might be 1%. There might be a city tax, which might be 1%. So these are the components of that sales tax. See, we are not talking income tax. Income tax is different. Federal, state, blah, blah, that's different. This is sales tax. Tax on the sale of a product. And that is based on 3 parameters. State, county, city, mainly. District is not used a lot. So state imposes a certain tax for certain products. County could impose a tax. City could impose a tax. So the total is, in this case, 7 plus 1 plus 1, 9%. Now let's imagine a seller as simple as me. I am selling some products on the internet, or I am selling some products. I'm a small company, maybe a $100 million company, selling some products across America. Now, I might have to ship this product to multiple destinations in the US. And these tax percentages could change by quarter. So this city next month might choose to withdraw the tax, or another city might choose to impose the tax starting next month. So how would a small businessman like me know all the different tax that different cities are charging? I would not know. It's very difficult for me. Right? Because I have to compute it across 55,000 jurisdiction codes. It's just plain next to impossible because it keep changing. So there are certain companies called tax vendors. Okay, tax vendors. What do these tax vendors do? Example are Taxware, Vertex, Sabrix. What do these tax vendors do? The only work of a tax vendor is to ensure that they have updated tax data for all the 55,000 plus jurisdiction codes. That is their duty. And they provide that data in a CD, online, or whatever. Okay, let's say they provide us a server that will update all the data related to tax. That server is available here in one of our in-house boxes. Okay. Now what? They'll provide a CD every month. That CD can be installed here and updated. As simple as that. So we have updated tax data for all the jurisdiction codes. But when you create a sales order in BA01, SAP has to contact this server and get the latest tax information and come back and charge the tax. How does it do that? It has to do it on the fly, online, while creating this order. Can it be done? Yes. And that can be done using, alternative calculation type or calculation type. So a calculation type is a small routine, okay, that can be used to compute anything you want either internally or go to some external server and get it. The example that I have given, the tax example, is an extreme case where you cannot compute it internally. It's based on some external parameters. So you go to an external server that has the data and gets it from there. You want to see an example of that? An example is a youth tax pricing procedure. Example, US, which one is that? I forgot. Tax USX, TAX US, none. What is TA? Sorry? Somebody has deleted it or what? Pricing procedure. TA. RBA JUS. RBA J XUS. Right, this one. RBA XUS. This is a pricing procedure that is provided by SAP, standard SAP, that can be used to compute taxes based on some external server. So if you look at the controls behind it, go all the way down to pricing, to tax calculation. There you go. So these are the tax procedures that can be, the tax condition types that can be used to compute tax from an external server. How does it do it? It does it based on the calculation type. So XR1 is based on state, XR2 is based on county, XR3 is based on city, XR4 is based on district, so on and so forth. Okay. Now if you look at XR1, the calculation type is 301. So what is 301? You go to 301. Oops. Select 301 and go to this code. You'll see that there will be a function that is called with all the parameters. So it will send all the pricing related fields to this procedure. And that procedure internally will call the external tax server. Okay, so the code for it is not very relevant for us here, but what you have to understand is this calculation type or alternative calculation type or alternative calculation procedure, as it might be called in various cases, can contain logic that could be used to compute the value of a condition type internally or by going to some external server and getting the values from there. Irrespective, some value will be returned, and that value will be used to compute the value of that condition type. In this case, XR1 will be computed based on 301 calculation type. That is called as an alternative calculation procedure or calculation type. Any questions there? No questions? Okay, that's all you need to know about a pricing procedure and its respective fields. So I have this version ready available for you. Just go through it again. I'll send that stuff over to you. Just go through it again, and you can call me. You can discuss the same in tomorrow's class. But by that time, okay, please ensure that you also go through the hands-on for pricing, because tomorrow we'll be doing the hands-on. I want you to complete the hands-on for tomorrow. That's all you have to do for tomorrow's class.
Thanks, Shiva.
Complete that hands-on for pricing. Yes.
I just want to make sure that can you please forward the video as a downloadable way? I mean, downloadable this WebEx recordings, whatever we have done.